The Democrats are so steamed about Doge. Congresswoman LaMonica McIver says we are at war. Ilhan Omar says we might actually see somebody get killed. And Chris Van Hollen says we have to fight this in the Congress. We have to fight this in the streets. So what now?
What's up, Black Coffee Crew? Today we're not just scratching the surface, we're diving deep into the swamp. We're gonna unpack the epic meltdown happening on the left. And honestly, it's a masterclass in hypocrisy and desperation. We've been watching this drama unfold, and the level of delusion and double standards is truly breathtaking. So grab your black coffee and let's get into it.
We will not take this. We will fight back.
Fight back. Fight back.
And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for a long time, and goddamn it, shut down the Senate. We are at war. Anytime a person can pay $250 million into a campaign and they be given full access to the Department of Treasury of the United States of America, we are at war.
Recap of the situation. We've seen the Democrats in full panic mode ever since Elon Musk started his work with the Department of Government Efficiency. It's like they've been caught red-handed, and their reactions are revealing. This isn't about good governance, it's about protecting their own interests. The Democrats are melting down because their corrupt system is being exposed, and the American people can see it. The war declaration. Let's be clear, this war talk is not new for the left. They are the first to call out anything they dislike as insurrection or violence when it comes from the right, but when they threaten to fight back and shut down the Senate, all of a sudden it's okay. This blatant double standard is the definition of hypocrisy. We need to understand this is not about policy, it's about power. The role of Carolyn Levitt. We need to give it up to President Trump's press secretary, Carolyn Levitt, for exposing this charade.
Point out, if you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers. That's all that is happening here. And for Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
She went on stage and just laid it all out. She really showed the progressive left that they are completely out of touch with reality, with the people, and with what is right. Her statement perfectly captured the essence of the issue: selective outrage. The level of selective outrage is mind-boggling. When Republicans are involved, the media and Democrats go crazy. But when their own leaders use violent rhetoric, they call it passion. This is not just a double standard. It's a calculated strategy to manipulate public opinion. If Republican leaders were to even whisper half the stuff that the Democrats are saying, the mainstream media would be calling for their heads. They'd be calling in the National Guard and locking people up. The media funding scandal. This is the root of the issue. The Democrats have been using taxpayer money to fund their propaganda networks. We're talking about millions of dollars funneled to media outlets like Politico. These outlets were not profitable and were only afloat because of our money. So they weren't journalists, they were just a PR machine for the Democrat Party using our money. This isn't about independent journalism, it's about controlling the narrative. Politico as an example. Politico was given special treatment, and their reporters essentially had a seat at the table while being subsidized by American taxpayers. They had a vested interest in keeping their political handlers happy, and this corrupt setup is now being dismantled. That's why they are melting down. The rules for thee mentality. This goes to the core of progressive ideology. They believe that the rules don't apply to them. They are above the law, above scrutiny. When they talk about the people, they really mean us. When Trump and Musk are working to make the government more efficient, it's somehow a threat to democracy. They're the ones pushing corruption and fighting transparency. This shows us what they really think about us and how they view themselves as above the rest of us. The "we didn't vote for Elon" argument. It's not about Elon, it's about what he represents. The American people voted for Trump and his promises.
So upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The DOJ team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board on, do these receipts serve the interests of the American people? Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad, and American taxpayers will see significant savings because of that effort.
They campaigned on the idea of having Elon help to clean up the federal budget. They can't deny that people wanted their tax money used wisely, and that is what is happening. Or they're upset because the party is over and they got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. The absurd spending list. Let's not forget the insane list of wasteful spending that they are trying to justify $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala. Huge million for tourism in Egypt. $20 million for a new Sesame Street show in Iraq. $4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan, and the list goes on and on. Where is the outrage? Where is the outrage from the Democrats on these issues when they are spending our money on it? They're silent. Now, these are the same people who claim to care about the needy. They're more interested in spending on vanity projects than helping their own people. There's a long list of Americans who have been ignored for years because their money was being sent to their pet projects abroad. Where was the help for the people in North Carolina and California who lost everything?
And I would just say a strong message to Democrats who are out there pretending to be outraged about the long list of crap that this administration is cutting, federal waste and funding, like $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala, $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt, $20 million on a new Sesame Street show in Iraq, $4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan. I could go on, and I'm happy to provide this list to every single one of you. Democrats are outraged that the American people want to be, they want their taxpayers going to good uses, not stuff like this. But then they're very quiet about the fact that there are still North Carolinians and people in California who have lost everything. And in the last 4 years, this federal government did nothing to help them. This president will continue to put Americans first. And I think the successes of this week so far speak to that. And it's only Wednesday. So I'll see you guys later this week, and we'll see you this afternoon. Thank you very much.
The scale of the problem. This isn't just a few bad apples. The USAID budget alone is $50 billion a year, and that is taxpayer money. They have been funneling this money to progressive political action groups for years with no accountability. We are talking about hundreds of billions of dollars wasted, if not outright stolen. This money could be used to actually help Americans. This is a systematic corruption problem. The lack of transparency. They think they can just spend money without our consent. Did we vote to send $2 million to Zimbabwe for LGBTQ group therapy classes? Of course not. This is about them believing they can do whatever they want with our money. This is not what a transparent government does. They want to keep us in the dark because they know if we see what is happening, they would be exposed. The illusion of popularity. The Democrats' entire political presence is a media-driven illusion. Without this constant propaganda, they would be exposed for what they are, a group of corrupt, incompetent people. They rely on the media to tell them what is popular, and they use that as their mandate. This is how they use our money to control the narrative by creating the illusion of popularity, the AstroTurf strategy. Their entire base is not organic. It is carefully manufactured by propaganda and echo chambers. They are not grassroots. They are AstroTurf. They create a fake sense of popular support. This is why they are so desperate to stop the truth from coming out. They know that if they lose their grip on the media, they lose their power. The real agenda. It is not about progress, equality, or justice. It's about maintaining their corrupt system of power. They are not interested in real solutions that work for everyone. They are interested in maintaining control and funneling money to their friends. This isn't about left versus right. It's about right versus wrong. They're afraid of being exposed. This is why they're so upset now. They realize that their whole house of cards is falling apart. This is their greatest fear, and we are watching them melt down in real time. They are exposed, and they know it. Are holding them accountable. We need to hold these people accountable for their actions. This is not about party loyalty. It's about integrity. They should be ashamed of what they have done to this country. We should be demanding transparency, accountability, and integrity from our elected officials. Being smarter. We can't just blindly follow what they tell us. We have to think for ourselves. We need to be critical of the news we consume. We need to demand more from our elected officials. Remember, at the ballot box, we need to remember what we saw here at the ballot box. We can't let them fool us again. The future of our country is at stake. Demand repayment. All the money that was wasted or stolen needs to be repaid by those responsible. The people who profited from this corruption need to be held accountable. We need to be more critical. We need to be more aware, and we need to stand up for what is right. Don't let them silence us and let them control what we think. So, what do you think? Are you tired of the hypocrisy? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay woke and keep that coffee black. Until next time, this is the Black Coffee Podcast crew signing off.